This is Temple of Void. We're going to take you behind the riff.
All right, welcome to the third episode of Behind the Riff. We're going to do track 3 from the new album called Engulfed. This is the opening riff. I don't know where the inspiration came from, but when I brought it to practice, you and Jason were like, "Dude, that sounds like 4th of July from Soundgarden." And I was like, "Okay, it's not a bad thing whatsoever." So we're 3 for 3 with the grunge influences creeping in on some level, subconscious, whether it's subconscious or overtly. So this one was our sort of, and we wrote it in September, so it was our 4th of September was our, our working title for it. And someone who actually knows music could tell us like what we're doing.
The extra note.
We're throwing in the extra note or whatever. Like we're tuned to like drop C, like CGC, FAD, but instead of just doing like straight open, we've got this extra kind of note in. I'm sure it's some sort of like...
It adds, I think it's like an
augmented
or
something or other.
Or something.
Yeah. I love modulation effects. We start off with the phaser, boom, it comes in, it's crushing, it's heavy. And then
Jason's groove again is huge here.
And then another thing is your pick rakes. So I remember when we were recording it, making sure that we the pick rakes didn't get lost in the recording, so you can clearly hear Don doing his rake.
Oh, right.
Which is another thing that to me kind of goes back to Machine Head, and just a lot of formative metal that probably both of us were listening to when we were younger, and I just really like the sound of pick rakes, and you're better at them than me, so like you did them and it sounds good, so it takes it from more than just a simple like open 1/4 progression to something like elevated.
Layers again.
We've got those layers in there, and then we go into another, from my perspective, caveman part, and that's the chorus, and this is where you brought in this creepy riff for the chorus, so we can kind of show them that.
I think a lot of the magic in that piece is that when I play, I just play that same cycle 4 times.
But it's how it interacts with the notes on top of it.
Right. It's the chords that you're playing behind it, the way that they're mixing together when they come in and out. I think is like the 2 parts together really, really, really work well. Together.
And then you wrote a harmony for it too, which I used to play like at practice, but it felt like it was missing something. So you just ended up doing both the harmonies in the studio, and then me and Brent just held down like those big open chords for that part. not hard. You see me like stretching to do that, whatever, that span, but hanging on to this note and having that kind of anchor everything and then just moving like the root notes around adds this hypnotic vibe to the riff, I think, by just always having that one note carrying as a sort of harmonic like constant throughout everything. Yeah. And it's kind of just fun to play. Yeah, again, like creates a really like cool, like creepy kind of atmosphere and mood going on in that part. And then I remember when you started with that part, like bringing it to practice, like I tried playing it, and it didn't make sense for us to both do that. So that's why I just play just like chords, just backing it up behind it. That's a spot where I think, at least for what I'm doing, like less is more. And to me, the way that part moves and shifts, when we cycle through it the second time, like it's very like unhinged sounding. That's always the part to me where it all, it just sounds like everything is just like really like coming undone. Oh, speaking of unhinged, and then you're in the studio with your, tell them about that part. Yeah, there's playing on that same riff when it shifts to the second half, and it, you're still playing the same thing, and I play the same notes, but I'm just playing them differently where I'm going. On the fourth one of that, I got to, you got to do it. You got to be the effect. It was like the human effect where I took the whammy bar and then just pushed it slower and slower and, Actually, we could probably show them that. This is two times studio effects. Yeah. On both records, the last records we've done together, right? Yeah. Right. So. Yeah. So it's I'm a huge tremolo fan. I live and dive the dive bombs. Yeah, and that was like what the first track on The World That Was, where we did that also. Yeah, right? the outro to the opening song. Beast Among Us. Yeah. That too. So, I think that's a cool thing that you and I kind of do. Either we have to retire it, or we have to make it a signature thing, where we do it on the next record too. I mean, so I don't probably make it a signature. Yeah, I wouldn't want to retire. Yeah. And also too, with it doing all of that, a lot of times I don't always consider resolve in songs and parts going from one part to the next, but there is a lot of that when it shifts back to the opening riff or the verse riff. It just kind of there is resolve there because it's so tense, and you get self-destructive, before that. And when it goes back that opening riff, there's just this, this big relief. So, definite grunge influence. This time I'm going to go with Temple of the Dog, though. With that. Definitely has like a Temple of the Dog kind of vibe to it. We talked about opening up with Soundgarden, so it's all within that Chris Cornell realm. Yeah. but that's a fun, that has a release to it when we get into that, because we have this crash and then it's a guitar break. We've got like the chorus on, the clean guitar on the record. And then we just build it and build it and build it. And by the end of it, we're just like, do that. Then like when we're just kind of strumming it out. Builds and builds and builds, and Jason's doing his, his rolls. And for us, we're playing 3 freaking chords, but it's probably the part in the practice space and eventually live once we get to play shows again that gives me the most goosebumps on the record when it comes to actually playing, because of how it all comes together and just those rolls and how we can just attack the strumming, and then we're adding, I don't know, phasers and, probably flangers and just getting
delay
spacey and hitting all the buttons, all the knobs.
Yeah, this is one of my top songs on the album, to play, and one that I look forward to playing live when we, when we get back to that point.
Yes,
I feel like this song, Engulfed, is it's almost like kind of 2 songs, like those first, the first, 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever that is very, to me, downtrodden, very, miserable sounding.
Yes.
Like there's no hope, where, wherever this is going. But when that clean part comes in, that's again where things break.
The sky,
there's a resolve kind of again.
The clouds part, the sunshine comes in.
Yeah, and only a little bit though. Because there's still this there's a little bit of hope in the second half of the song. It takes a little while to get there, and once you get there, there's just a little bit. Because it's still it's still flavored with the other stuff. But it's the whole song. It's a real trip. The whole song is a for the listener.
Definitely transcendent. I hope the listeners get even half as much out of it as we do playing it, because it's probably the most fun song to play on the record. So we'll leave you there. Catch you next episode with the next track.
Thanks.